How do we break the cycle of toxic Filipino parenting to healthy relationships? Not to say that there are many healthy Filipino relationships and families that continue to strengthen their relationship with each other and with the whole unit. I'm going to talk about some of the unhealthy parenting strategies or maybe mindset, what that does to you, and an offering on how to heal that and to finally break the cycle. Welcome, I'm Roanne Samos. I'm a licensed psychotherapist here in California. If you haven't subscribed yet and you have been listening, please help out the channel. It's mostly the message. I do these things to share a different perspective, to expand our worldview. So, here are a few things, and not to say that all Filipino parents share this. I know a lot of Filipino parents that are we can learn from as far as their parenting strategies. The first one, though, that is not very healthy is the I'm the parent, akong magulang, anak lang kita. So, you familiar with that? It's almost like you can't raise your voice, which I'm not saying you need to raise your voice, but sometimes kids are reasoning or don't look at me because looking a certain way is deemed as something almost like answering back with your eyes. So that's one potentially unhealthy parenting strategy or mindset. The second one is misusing utang na loob. In this channel, we talk a lot about the shadow and the light part or side of the Filipino culture. I think the Filipino culture is so beautiful. But again, as I always say, anything to the extreme is a dysfunction. So it's a function, we want to adapt, we do something so that whatever the change in our world, we could adapt. So that becomes a function, a behavior that's functioning. But if you suddenly move to a different era and you're still using that type of strategy, it might not work. And then it's called a dysfunction. So another one is, I think the utang na loob is really, there's a mutual respect and cooperation. I think that that is the pinnacle of that concept of utang na loob. But it is also because there's culture of poverty everywhere, but especially talking about the motherland, sometimes that could be misused by parents who may have their own culture of poverty, they're in culture of poverty, very scarcity mindset, or they have their own trauma in which the only strategy that they have to reel in their children is to say, wala ka talagang utang na loob. You have no, you are, have no debt of gratitude, like you don't know how to reciprocate, which in the Filipino culture is pakikisama, right? Is something very strong. And if somebody does not know how to give back, to honor their ancestors, is such, it's almost like a slap in the face. So that's one. If it's misused, it's used as almost an investment for emotional investment or financial investment for your children that you're giving so that you get something back. Not to say that there's a circular relationship in the Filipino culture in which, of course, the parents take care of their children, and it is sort of expected. I think in a beautiful way that children also tend to their parents, but it's not like an obligation. There's an expectation, and one could say that creates an obligation, and that's true. But when it does not happen, I think if the parents are more considerate, they also don't want to burden their children. I know also a lot of Filipino parents who are like that, don't want to burden their children, so they actually don't even want to complain. So so that's the second part. It can be misused, and if you're misusing it, try to look inwards and see what you can do as a parent. It's never too late to do to I always say it's never too late to have a happier childhood. Do some internal work, and will help you break free, not only you, but your descendants or your relationships. The third one is the belief that you do what I say, but not what I do. I mean, that might be across culture. It might be stronger in culture where there's strong hierarchy. I'm the parent, like I mentioned. So that's the third one. It's we learn, as we know, children really learn from modeling rather than what we just say. So if you've had children, you understand this, and this creates confusion. The fourth one is sometimes, and also not everything is everyone. A limited self-regulation strategy. You don't know what that is, let me explain. When you self-regulate, when you feel anxious, nervous, you can calm yourself down. It's almost like getting yourself your own blanket to calm down, warm your soul. Now, I think that's great. One part that we need to balance is co-regulations. Co is now you're sharing a blanket with another person. Sometimes a solo blanket might not be enough. And certainly as humans, that's what makes us different from other animals, is that we love to cuddle. I mean, not just us, there are many animals that do that. Sometimes, though, because Filipinos are co-regulators, they're more conditioned to find comfort in others. The self-regulation skill, the ability to just self-soothe, is not as honed. And thereby, sometimes this can work if you're in the Philippines because there's a lot more people to co-regulate with. The problem is when you immigrate, now you only have your immediate people. Sometimes your children, you're expecting your children to co-regulate with you, and thereby there goes the role reversal. And they could feel burdened by that, but you don't know any different because that has been your world. So that's another one. And the last one I will share is passed down trauma, which creates a fear base, and sort of like if your mother is always guilt tripping you, or your dad's not always the mom, there might be some fear based narrative or trauma that's unresolved. I'm going to just briefly share with you the effects that this might have on you. It could result to miscommunication. It could be passed on to your own relationships, not just your relationship with your parents. You could have hidden loyalties. There are alliances in your family, favoritism. One that you often hear is skewed boundaries. It permeates. You don't know which one is my house or my mother's house, if you will. And that could be very challenging. Also, similar to what I just said, you could then acquire the fear-based mindset. Many people say, "Oh, I sound like my mom now," and I sort of use kind of guilt tripping when I'm running out of strategy with my own children. This can happen because epigenetics are, gene expression, also what we're exposed to. Now, I'm just going to share briefly how you could break the cycle. You can break the cycle by you could do self-development on your own, journaling, you can take courses, and you can also speak to a therapist like myself. And if that's something that you're interested in, check the link below to check or book a free consult. But otherwise, you certainly can do this on your own, but you have to have some kind of guideline. And it's always helpful if you have a coach, a therapist, and healing comes in different forms. I hope that this served you well, my friends. Again, this is Roanne Samuels. If you want to book a consult therapy with Roanne.com, I hope this served you well, and take good care.